How many of you have ever thought this? Well, that was a bad idea. Come on, be honest. What is an idea? It's just a figment of your imagination until you do something about it. In my world, there is no such thing as a bad idea, just poor execution. This is Canada in winter. As you can see, it's got lots of snow. In the end of that picture, you'll be able to see a very distant telephone line. Now, when snow falls in Canada, it falls onto the telephone lines. And with these telephone lines, with the weight of the snow, the lines bow. Now, as the lines bow, it causes a disruption between business to business and house to house. Now, this is a big problem for Canadian Telecom. They're losing customers. Their shareholders aren't happy. And the chief executive stands up here in front of you and says, we've got a problem. You guys are going to solve it. No idea is a bad idea. Now off you go and solve this problem of too much snow. Everyone looks quietly, thinking, what the hell are we going to do? Until one brave soul puts their hand up and says, I've got the idea, sir. What is it? Let's give everyone in the company a baseball bat. What on earth are you going to do with a baseball bat? Simple. We're going to hit the baseball bat against a post. The post will shake, the line will shake, the snow will fall. Problem solved. I did say no idea is a bad idea. So the CEO gives everyone in the company a baseball bat. And off they go at lunchtime to hit bats against posts. The next day, only half the workforce arrives. What's going on? Boss, we've got a bit of a problem. What's the problem? Well, we lost a few people in the snow. And the others aren't coming in because they've got repetitive strain injuries from hitting bats against posts. So we're going to be a little bit light on the ground. Can't have this. Half a workforce, all this bloody snow. We need to get this problem solved. You're going to solve it. No idea is a bad idea. Now solve this problem. So this time they all sat in a circle. What are we going to do? What could we use other than people to get this problem solved? Someone else goes, what does Canada have more than people? Someone else goes, Canada's got bears. How are you going to use bears? Well, bears like honey. We could use honey. How are you going to get the honey on the post? We can paint it on. And the guy almost lost his job for baseball bat suggestions actually said, we can't use any more people. So this brave soul puts his hand up and goes, I've got it. Boss, give me a helicopter, barrel of honey and a spray gun. What on earth are you going to do now? It's simple. Because I'm going to fly in, spray the post. The post will have all that honey on it. The bears will see it. They'll come up to the post. They'll scratch the post. The post will shake. The line will shake. The snow will fall. And I'll be a hero. Because if you fall in the snow, that won't be too bad. Anyway, he granted him his wishes. Gave him a helicopter, barrel of honey, and a spray gun. He dresses up like Rambo, gets up onto the helicopter, and off he goes. They're approaching the first post. And he goes, pilot, get me in a little bit closer. He goes, I'm out of range. He goes, all right, hold on, I'll get you in there. Gets him in closer, closer and closer. He's in range now. He's taking aim. He's about to press the trigger. And the pilot said, stop. Does anyone know what happened? Any guesses? The helicopter blew the snow off. And how did it do it? Through the propellers. Now, in the heart of winter, Canadian Telecom send helicopters straight down telephone lines to blow the snow off. But let me remind you, this started with someone talking about baseball bats. Sometimes we have to entertain the most silliest things to find the right solutions. And just accidentally on purpose, you do find the right answer. But like with anything, if you don't share an idea, if you don't act on an idea, you can't evolve. I can tell you now that 75% of all ideas that are conceived will never turn into businesses because people are too scared to either share them, act on them, or most of the time, like when they come to me, you're going to steal my idea and you're going to do it for yourself. I'm like, okay, fair enough. 99% of all ideas have actually been thought of and conceived. They're just executed poorly. But in a moving landscape, the world is changing fast. Did you know by 2019, 6% of the total world will be unemployed? By 2040, there will be an additional 1 billion people from emerging economies in the labour market. 75 million people around the world are illiterate. 65 million children don't have a school. The world is changing fast, my friends. And if you don't change with it, you get left behind. In the UK, 8 out of 10 people hate or don't like the job they do. Yet, 1 in 3 of those 8 will never change, will never leave that job because of the fear of failure. The fear of failure. There are 3 things that stop your potential: your mind, your attitude, and your idea. And I want to explore these very, very quickly with you. Your mind is a powerful thing. It's a very powerful thing. But it needs to be elastic. You've got to learn and then unlearn. Because if you don't unlearn, you will never allow a new perspective or a new way of doing something differently. And I tell you now, what you see and perceive turns into a behavior. That behavior very quickly turns into an attitude. And that attitude can very quickly affect your results because your actions are built by your attitudes. So just think about this. What you see today will produce a behavior and an attitude and an action. And I can say to you now that 1% change in that attitude can equal 100% change in your results. But there are 3 limiting factors to your potential and your mindset. I call these the Ppf factor. The first one I want to talk to you about is pain. How many of you have ever stubbed your toe? Painful, isn't it? Tell me you were thinking about what you're going to have for dinner when you were hobbling after stubbing your toe. Because the very thing about pain is it's a thought blocker. It blocks your ability to think. All you can think about is the pain. But pain is temporary. If you let it, it will go away. If you don't, it will consume you forever. The next is panic. How many of you have ever panicked? Think about this. When someone hyperventilates, what do? They give them a paper bag to breathe into. It's to regulate your breathing. Panic is all about losing control. When you panic, you lose control. I have a great story about this in terms of someone like myself who tried to abseil for the first time. Any of you have abseiled before? Got to the edge of the cliff, think, oh, hell no. Hell no. And there's the instructor telling you to lean back. I'm like, no, are you crazy? He goes, lean back. I'm like, no. Lean back. I'm looking back. I said, there's this little rope. And I said, how the hell is this going to happen? What's going to happen? He goes, don't panic. Just lean back. And as I leant back, I went down this cliff edge, a little bit unprofessionally, with a little bit of a all the way down. But when I got down to the bottom, I looked back up and I thought, I've just conquered this. And the next time I went up, and he said, lean back, I went, woof, completely back. And there's one thing that you've got to learn about when you panic and regain control, is don't get overconfident. Because you might just fall off the cliff. The last one I want to share with you is fear. In my world, or false evidence appearing real. It's when you create this story in your head. This is what's going to happen. This is how it is. I used to have a fear of spiders. I used to scream like a girl. No offense to girls. Seriously, I used to scream like a girl. Until I approached and attacked that very fear by holding a spider that was almost the size of my hand. And I said, this isn't so bad. It's a little bit furry, but it's okay. It's okay. We live in fear because we consume by the pain and the panic and then create this other world that doesn't exist. Only exists in your mind. Now, I've been there before with pain, panic, and fear. In 2007, I lost my job. I lost my job. And I thought I did something, what sounds like a bad idea. I went back to my employer and told my employer, I'll take redundancy on one condition. He said, what's that? I said, you give me a job. Like, Ketan, I know this is a hard time. Come on, think about what you're doing. I said, you're listening, but you're listening with the intent to reply, not to understand. I said, you're going to remove me from here because you can't afford me as a resource. You don't want to pay my tax or my employability contributions or whatever it is. I said, eventually the market's going to stabilize and you're going to want to grow, but you've just taken all the expertise out of your company. So what do? You hire a contractor. It's an interim solution while you find the right person for your company. They don't know your business, they don't know your customers, they don't know your culture, they don't understand your value. I do. Just give me that contract now. Give me that contract now. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you half the price of a normal contractor would. And do you know what? He looked at me with a stone cold face and my hands were shaking, thinking, oh my God, my wife's going to kill me. I've just talked myself out of a job. And he said, this is a great idea. Take a week off, take your severance, come back. What have I just done? I'd moved from being employed to unemployed to self-employed. 7 years on, I've sold a couple of businesses. I've helped businesses around the world grow. I've worked with royal people. I've worked with ministers around the world. And I keep spreading this word that if you can overcome your pain, if you can overcome the panic, and you can overcome the fear, you can do anything that you want to in the world. Anything that you want, because you are your own enemy when it comes to it. Not everyone else out there. And yes, starting a business is exciting and there will be moments of pain, but pain is temporary. Don't let it consume you. And there will be times where there's nothing coming in and you're thinking, how am I going to pay the bills? Don't panic. Control. Think about what you can do rather than what you can't. And don't fear that your competitors out there. There is enough business in the world for everyone, if you so choose to see it in that way. Our actions are derived by our attitudes. Our attitudes are reflective of our behaviors, and our behaviors are modeled by our perception. I want you to think about this. Think about what's happening to you in your life. Whether it is that you're going for exams, or you want to change your job but just don't feel like you're going to get the one that you want, or you're feeling excited about starting a business, or even selling a business. I also want you to think what's happening around you, because this isn't about you. This is about what you can do and what's happening around you. When you change your perception by 1%, you can change the results that you desire and aspire to. Are there anything such as bad ideas? Not in my world. Not in my world at all. They just say that 1% change in attitude will equal 100% change in results. I want to leave you with a saying that lucky people get opportunities. It's brave people that take opportunities. We all talk about courage and bravery, but I tell you something, winners are those that in the face of adversity will make opportunities. I've carved my own career in my own way because I believe in what I can do. I feel happy in what I do. I feel more inspired when others are inspired. But I didn't know that. 7 years ago, I was still a career geek. I wanted to become the director of a corporation. But something happened in my life that changed my perspective. It pinned my back against the wall, which meant the only way I could move was forward. Today, I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me in my life, because I can help and enrich others. I want you to think about what's happening in your life. What do you need to change? Are you looking at perspectives in a particular way? Keep looking at it the same way, you're going to keep coming up with the same actions. You put the same in, you get the same out. You want a different result? Change your perspective. That will change your behavior. It will encourage a more positive and proactive attitude, and I can guarantee you that will change your results. So I want you to go out there, look at what's happening around you, say, what is it that I can do to change the world around me? And no matter how silly it sounds, just remember that someone thought about baseball bats and they were able to solve a global crisis on telecommunications. Now go out there and maximize the potential in a changing landscape. Thank you.